we benchmark innovations, probably some which may not be that relevant. You know, it's beyond that aspect of developing something and you feel good about being a developer. You know, you have developed this application, I've developed this innovation, but is it solving, is it answering society challenges? So today is the discussion, and with me I'm joined with an innovator, that's Agaba Gad, and of course is going to be giving us an insight. Is actually the founder of LeadSend, and is going to be telling us from his experience, because he's an innovator, he's been in this field, he knows what it feels like and what is happening there. Agaba, you're welcome on SMB on Ground.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Now, back to that point. You know, you are into the field of innovation. Do you really think that our innovations are really answering society challenges Uganda is facing?
Okay. Thank you so much. I believe that a number of innovations are actually solving challenges on ground. However, I also feel like there's a number of solutions that are simply built out of this whole craze of technology is the next best thing, and you know, you'll find a lot of solutions that, you know, are being pushed in the market, but if you look at the use cases, sometimes they really aren't solving quite, like, you know, some major problems. I mean, without mentioning, you know, specific innovations, but we can all agree that there are innovations in the market that don't necessarily address, you know, societal challenges. Yeah.
Well, very interesting. Now, getting back to this aspect, what do you think is that linkage, that missing gap to get that? What is missing in this puzzle?
Okay, as you know, as innovators, I think we sort of come from a point where you're supposed to look into the society, see what challenges people are experiencing, and build off that. However, what we have today is a number of people who are building something because they saw it in a different market. So usually you'll see a lot of people saying, I was maybe in Europe, I was in China, they have this, so I want to do it this way. Some of the technology they want to bring here is way ahead of time, because, I mean, people don't have that many smartphones in Uganda. But someone wants to bring that innovation here. So it means usability is almost not going to be, you know, have impact. Or sometimes you will find that, I mean, there are certain policies that are still taking place. For example, we still have cash in the economy. And then you'll find someone wanting people to pay by tapping, you know, phones on an NFC tag or something, yeah, which I don't think, it might work in the future, but it's way ahead of time. So because someone is copying and trying to paste here, then you find a lot of solutions that don't actually meet actual problems. Yeah.
Well, very interesting. We are still on Smart Means Business on Ground, and, you know, according to what he's saying regarding, you know, most of these innovations we look up to, they are customized. Let me say that, customized to those particular societies, due to the unique challenges that they really go through. Now, when it comes to Uganda, we have our own. We have those challenges that define Uganda. That, you know, if somebody just comes to Uganda and like if somebody speaks of that challenge, let me say that, what comes in your mind first is Uganda. So as an innovator, it should be in your mind that I'm addressing this challenge, and, you know, it should really answer the problem regarding that. Now, probably an innovator right there would want to know, since you are past somebody into this tech field, what are those sectors that you feel are marketable if somebody really took an initiative to put their knowledge to invest and innovate there?
I think the financial sector is still virgin. Opportunities, mobility, you know, in the motorbikes and maybe trucking and maybe public transport. I still think there's a lot of potential. Yeah, those, I think, transport, you know, mobility and agriculture and tech, and maybe the financial area, as well as maybe the education space. There's still room for a lot of innovation there. Yeah.
Well, very interesting. Now let's talk about, however much we are talking about innovation solving society challenges. There has been a trend whereby, okay, maybe it's starting to change, but what do you think needs to be done to ensure that the people can embrace our locally made innovations? Because when they embrace them, I believe there will be, it's very discouraging when you develop something intended for a certain society, but that society doesn't seem to really pay attention to it. And at some point, however much you are solving its problems, it might seem like your work is in vain. Why? They don't want to. Probably they're not paying attention to what you're doing. Why do you think there is that kind of? There is still, okay, there is a mindset change, of course. People are now using our local innovations, but we need better. We need more people to use that. Why do you think there is a bit of despise, and what should be done to hype up our innovations?
Okay, so first and foremost, I come from a product management perspective. That means I stand between the business and the customers and the engineers, right? My role is to understand everyone's role in the mix. What's happening today is that for most innovators, they don't pay attention to customers' needs. They build based off what they feel the customer wants, okay? So from just that moment, there's already a mismatch, okay? Of you are creating something for someone who does not want it, okay? So for us to be able to change that perspective, one, innovators need to start, as they build, they need to start consulting customers. However small the base is, let customers influence what you're building. If you, it's just like making a suit for someone and they are not interested in the type of suit that you have made. For example, maybe let's get a millennial and you say, oh, Kaunda suits are very beautiful, back in the 80s they were the best, and then I get a Kaunda suit for a millennial. Of course they're not going to take it, okay? So it means that as we build that suit, let's start asking the millennial, what kind of features do you want? Do you want one button? Do you want 3 buttons? Do you want, maybe double-breasted, or so as you interact with the customer is able to sort of keep giving you hints, and as you make it, you come back to the customer and sort of test with them and see if it meets. Once the customer is very happy with your product, once the customer finds value in your product, the likelihood that they are going to recommend you to another customer is going to be like 90%. The moment you make a product that is not meant for the customer in the first place, don't expect any customer to recommend your product. Be it tech, be it non-tech, don't expect any referral, because it didn't meet the expectations, or it didn't meet the need, that exactly, it didn't solve anything according to the customers. So once you have removed that bias of your building products for people based off what you need, and now you're changing it to what customers need, it becomes very easy to build onto your product, okay? So it means that once you start, if you build from a perspective where we start with what they call an MVP, that's a minimum viable product, a product that can answer 1 or 2, okay, then you're able to build on top of that, and in the end, your product grows with your customers, okay? And then this is how we are going to change the consumer behavior for the customer. If we choose to, we're going to invest money and think what we've built works, we're going to send marketing people, sales people into the field to sort of push the brand there, and you're just going to meet resistance, because people are going to tell you, this doesn't do exactly what I want to do. Yeah, so we need to build based off customers' needs and wants. Customers should influence the products that they want, okay? At least the bare minimum, let the futures answer customers' needs. Yeah.
So in other words, it's as an entrepreneurship feasibility study before you innovate.
Exactly. I feel like most people just wake up and they have an idea and they start building and then they push to the market. From the product perspective, that's not how it works. It requires you to interact with the people for whom you want to solve a challenge. Once you speak with them, then they are going to giving you insights, okay? That helps people to send money back to Uganda. So before we started, we had to speak to all these friends who are out there in Qatar, in Dubai, ask them how they are sending their money, and hint and give them an idea of what if you would use a mobile application. Would it, resolve the challenges that you have? So some of the problems that we found is that they have contacts there who they physical money, who will do the exchange. Those physical contacts will call in Uganda for someone now to send money to a specific number. That takes almost it could take 24 hours. Okay, so it means that once they were delivering money, they don't attach the time element to it. So my question would then be, what if I would give you in a minute, okay? And then they're like, maybe that would work because I have challenges with the time it takes to deliver. I have challenges with the cost. So it means once they gave you a cost that they were being charged, it means you can't charge the same amount. Give less to sort of see if you can pick them and have some traction. And that's how we've been able to get customers. But we also didn't start with a system that has everything. No, we only started with just a few bits where someone can deposit and send money. And then after that, we now are saying you can send to another person, maybe who is within the same platform. Then we're now saying, how about we add on other different modules through which you can deposit money, maybe from PayPal, from Google Pay or Apple Pay, But originally we started with just card and mobile money. So you just don't come and dump things on customers and expect them to consume overnight. Yeah.
Now, the last question, probably, there are sometimes maybe we can attribute to that the innovators themselves, somewhere, there are things they have not done right. But then, let's assume, what are those circumstances which are beyond control for the innovator, basing on the society we are living in, which limit them to actually develop something which can actually solve society? Because that aspect, I believe, is also there.
Yes, that aspect is there, and I totally agree with you. For example, in technology, what we usually look at is delivery channels. Okay, so we're looking at some of the delivery channels we have in the country is USSD. That is the *165 hash. 2, we have the mobile applications. 3, we have the web applications. 4, maybe we have desktop applications. Of course, desktop applications are not popular because not so many people have desktops. 2, web applications requires that you must always have internet, okay, and a computer at that, or maybe even a phone that is, smart enough to sort of give the service. However, there are some services that even when they're on a web application, they can't fit on the mobile application. Okay, so that means that web applications sort of also get kicked out. Then you stay with mobile applications. Of course, then someone must have a smartphone that is either in the Huawei family or Android or maybe iOS. That's the Apple iPhone. And they must have internet. Okay? Then we come to USSD, which is the most popular. Everyone's phone is able to access USSD. But whereas we would love to build USSD applications, it's the most complicated. Why? For you to be able to get a USSD code, it costs around $12,000 from UCC. That is just getting a letter of approval saying that you can use the code *165 hash. Okay, so for every code that you see *165 hash, approximately $12,000 has been paid per year. Okay, now when you go to the telco for them to implement for you that USSD code, each of them has their charges. So we are looking at now, let's say approximately 5 million, okay, per telco. So Airtel and MTN will charge you 5 million just to integrate. Okay, 3, once you have built USSD code and now people, okay, you're going to find that the telco expects that whoever dials that code must have airtime. Oh yeah. Okay? If they don't have airtime, if you're willing for it to be free of charge, then you who is building the mobile application, the cost is on you. How much do they charge? anywhere around, I think, 35 shillings for every 20 seconds. So by the time you finish a session on a USSD, people dial that *165 hash. It's because MTN has zero rated it as a company. But for all other people, if you use it and it's free, just know there is someone that has paid the cost for you. Okay? So you find that the regulator and the telcos are sort of affecting the innovators from being able to ship products that could reach so many people, that could solve so many challenges. So that, of course, is beyond the innovators. So you will find that maybe cost, but dollars to rent. That means that people also need to memorize that code, extension, not the main one. So once you've rented that extension, it means that now it might be cheaper, but still the customer has to meet the cost, because you can't be setting up a USSD code to deliver a service, and then on top of that you have to pay for customers. Welcome.
So it's very interesting.
Sure.
Yeah, and innovations in Uganda really solving the problems Uganda is facing. But of course, sometimes before we judge the innovators, of course, maybe there is something they have not done right, but then we need to understand that there are circumstances, there are factors that are beyond their control. So, well, but of course that calls upon the different responsible stakeholders to come together and of course work together to develop the innovation sector, and at the end of the day it will be, bringing in revenues for the government and the individuals at large. And that's it for Smart Means Business on Ground. Andrew Barije, back to studio.
Many thanks, Andrew Barije, for that particular update this morning in regards to the innovation and how the young people can fit in directly. But for all the viewers out there who are watching, many thanks for being part of Smart Links Business today. It is Monday, the 30th of January, and we're only left with 11 minutes to the top of the hour. As I sign out, though, I'm reminding you to invest in government bonds by using the Zabo platform. Use the USSD code *292 hash. Follow the prompts and select a preferred maturity period for a bond that you wish to invest in. And remember, with just a minimum of 15,000 Ugandan shillings, you can be able to invest in these government bonds. The markets on the platform open at 8:15 a.m. and do close at 3:15 p.m. East African Standard Time. And please do note that these markets are fully closed on the weekends and on public holidays. So it's a time for you to think of how best you can fit into that space of investment today with Zabo. Zabo, my money, my future. Alltech East Africa, do something new. And that's it for Smart Means Business today. I'm Joram Paul Sonko. Have a good day. Coming up is Financial Markets with Anthony Sebale, who will be driving you through Uganda's financial market space and understanding the scope of how markets have been faring this morning. Have a blessed day.